Want to know how elite tax advisors win the due diligence game to satisfy ultra-high net worth clients who expect the very best? Welcome to the Due Diligence Project podcast, where you get a chance to learn from the elite CPAs, virtual family office professionals, and tax specialists who are doing just that. We'll uncover their insider secrets on how they are dominating their competition, vetting new ideas, and supercharging their due diligence process to deliver extraordinary results. Bringing his 25 plus years of experience with top tax professionals across the country, please welcome your host, Alex Sunkin.
Hey everyone, this is Paul McManus for the Due Diligence Project podcast, and I am here today with our founder, Alex Sunkin of the Due Diligence Project and the Virtual Family Office Hub. Hey Alex, how are you doing?
I am doing great, Paul. Good morning to you. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, last week, we just concluded our Spring Due Diligence Project Summit for 2021. And I'd love, now that we have this behind us, I'd love to ask you some questions about it. So let's discuss the highlights. What were you most excited about for the Due Diligence Project Summit 2021?
It's taken us a while to decompress. It was an amazing event. Took a lot of effort just to prepare for this event. First of all, we had 827 unique registrations, independent peer reviewing CPA firms. Some of these CPAs are former partners of Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, Ernst & Young. The more members that we have who have at least 10,000 hours, some of these members have 100, 250,000 hours of sophisticated tax planning experience, and their experienced eyeballs looking at the strategies that have already been vetted through the Virtual Family Office Hub Due Diligence Project, and also their ability to introduce new resources, new international resources, other tax mitigation resources, cost mitigation resources to our community, so that the rest of our independent peer reviewing community can rip them apart and independently vet these strategies and resources out. This is really, really exciting. So just the fact that our community is growing in the right way is exciting. The feedback that we have received from our existing members, from new prospective members, is just incredible. Obviously, we know what's happening in the marketplace. Taxes are going up. We're seeing now retroactive capital gains taxes that really are retroactive to January 1st of 2021. We've never seen business owners this concerned. People are leaving California because they don't have access to world-class tax planning. 82% of Fortune 500 companies don't know how to build a tax planning team that knows how to zero out their tax return. 18% are doing that at a very, very high, consistent level. The marketplace is needing the Due Diligence Project, the Virtual Family Office Hub, more and more every day. And the communities, when we get together in these DDP summits, it's just energetic. So it's exciting.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, absolutely. And this is my fourth time to participate with you. And so just, it seems to get better and better every year. And just, I thought it was fantastic. So very well done for you and everybody involved. We had 4 different sessions for the summit. Tell us about what each section was and what was it that the participants learned in each section?
Yeah, we want to make these summits as efficient as possible. And so it really is hard to figure out what to leave out, because we have so much content that we want to share. And we know that CPAs don't want to spend a million days, a million hours going through a lot of rigmarole, especially they got out of one of their longest tax seasons in history. Definitely. An extended tax season. We didn't change the date of the summit. It was 2 days after their final day. And we're like, you know what? They're going to want to decompress. Let's make this fun. So we want to make this efficient. So our sections were, how does due diligence get done at the highest levels? At the end of the day, how are these 18% of Fortune 500 companies doing due diligence versus the other 82? So that was the first section. And really where we tackled this, the essence of that section is independent peer review. How does Amazon do independent peer review? How many books are there? How many tchotchkes are they selling on Amazon? What are they doing? How is someone going to Amazon and figuring out which product, which toothpaste to buy, which book to buy, when there's such a universe of possibilities? Well, the answer is simple. They use independent peer review. They have thousands and thousands, hundreds, millions of people reviewing these products. They give you 5 stars, 4 stars, 4.5 stars, and we can quickly go on that Amazon app and get to that answer. Same thing with Netflix. This facility outside of the due diligence project, Virtual Family Office Hub, does not exist for sophisticated tax planning, for the top tax partners at all the big CPA firms and the top tax geniuses at all the top law firms in the country.
Yeah.
They don't have a facility to go where they can rank and rate all of this universe of strategies. In fact, they don't even know.
Yeah.
If you go to the biggest law firm or CPA firm in the country and you say, do you know the tax law? Do you know how many pages there are in the tax code? Do you know how many strategies there are to navigate the tax code? The answer is no. We don't know any of those answers. And so if we don't know any of those answers, how are we doing tax planning? We can't. And the answer to that, the way we do this as a community, how are we eating this elephant one bite at a time? We do it with an amazing community that's growing, that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of independent peer reviewing CPAs and tax attorneys. And that's how it's done. So each CPA, each tax attorney that has at least 10,000 hours of sophisticated tax planning experience is able to vote, is able to say, I don't like this, I don't understand this, help me explain this to me in greater detail. And those notes keep getting refined and compiled and added onto and added onto. And so we have this full universe of notes on every single strategy, every single concept that we've seen so far. Does that mean that we have access to everything? We think we do, but we know we don't. Because guess what? Next year is going to come around and we're going to meet, 3 or 4 new specialists that we've never met before. We're going to introduce them to our community, and our community is going to decide and rip them apart and figure out if they're good, better, or best, and where to place them and where to rank them in our hierarchy of ROI based on risk and cost. At the end of the day, net risk and cost adjusted ROI on every single strategy, every single resource in the universe for sophisticated tax planning. So that's section 1.
Yeah.
Section 2.
And let me follow up on that just briefly. So, for, whether it's a CPA or, whether it's ultra high net worth, individual or whether it's a specialist, obviously there's already, a universe of people that exists. But as you said, you are open to new people coming in, vetted resources. What are those standards? What are the processes for, someone that, might exist that you're not aware of to come in and become a resource? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to impress the most difficult group of people in the world to impress, which is very conservative CPAs who are representing billionaire clients, millionaire clients, multi-millionaire, millionaire clients, right? These are CPAs they don't like risk. They don't want tax court. They don't want audits. They don't want any issues. They are not interested in anything. They don't want to put their clients in any situation that's going to make them look bad. And so before they recommend any person or any strategy to their biggest clients in their book of business, they're going to have to do their own independent due diligence. And they're just not going to do anything without that. That's who they are. That's why our community is built of 99% of these people. So to impress that group of people, and you're not just one, you don't have to impress all of them. Okay. You don't have to get 750, 800 CPA firms to go, no, we love you.
Yeah.
That's impossible. Okay. But if you get 30, if you can get 30 independent, some of which are former tax partners at KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, Ernst & Young, if you can get those people to say, no, this is really good, I understand this, or I really like this person, I know this person, they have a history work. There are so many layers of due diligence. And even when we give them a chance with a client initially, guess what's going to happen? The strategy is going to get vetted. The client is going to have their own attorneys, other CPA firms, partners who have other CPAs, other attorneys, all looking at the structure, the strategy, the resource, the specialists. Due diligence in the due diligence project never, ever, ever stops. We're always getting feedback. It's kind of like being married, right, Paul? Your spouse is constantly giving you feedback. I know my spouse is constantly giving me feedback to make sure that I'm, that I'm refining myself and bettering myself. Well, the due diligence project naturally does that. And sometimes it's not comfortable, but at the end of the day, there's no room for error. Okay.
Yeah.
And so some of you can understand, I'm joking about this, but I'm very, very serious.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, CPAs are very serious about what gets in front of their clients. And it's a painstaking work, but you know what? We want, as a community, we are committed to figuring out what's good, what's better, what's best. And in order to make that promise, we can never stop doing our jobs.
You're not a CPA yourself, but I mean, essentially, if we want to use the analogy of Amazon and Jeff Bezos, I mean, how did you end up creating the Amazon for sophisticated tax planners? I mean, just on a personal level, what got you from, what got you here?
It's funny. My dad, my dad was talking to me the other day, and he keeps reminding me when I was a kid, I used to always tell him, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to have, some of the wealthiest people in the world. They're going to come to me for advice, and I'm going to be giving advice to really powerful and wealthy people. And this was me as a kid. And so this is kind of what I was thinking I was going to be doing when I was young. How would I get there?
Mm-hmm.
My parents had a different business. They wanted me to get involved in their business, and their
mm-hmm.
business was really dealing with building a large sales organization, financial services, and kind of dealing with a smaller client. And I always told my dad, I'm not really interested in that. For some reason, I really want to deal with ultra high net worth, the richest, most powerful people in the world. I would love for them to come to me for advice. How is that going to happen? I have no idea, but I think that it's going to happen one day.
Sure. And we'll get to how it is happening, but please continue.
Yeah, no. So this is what I kind of set that intention. And so I've done so many different things along the way, but that's kind of been in my heart. Like, this is kind of where I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And meeting a number of people, meeting incredible people along the way who kind of showed me this is, here's what CPAs are dealing with. My goodness, they have a real problem. And someone told me years ago, look, Alex, if you want to make a lot of money, solve big problems.
Yeah.
If you want to make a little bit of money, solve little problems. Well, we've found that very few CPAs are able to solve very big tax problems, even though their hearts are there. They want to do this. They don't want to gouge their clients. They don't want to charge high fees. They want to do the right thing. They're just these amazing people, and they can't do their jobs because the tax code is just way too big.
Yeah.
And they're spread so thin because they're asked to produce tax returns, financial statements, compliance work, all this stuff. They're asked to deal with a tax code that's constantly changing. And it's just an impossible job for a CPA firm to do on their own. And so when we realized that this was a problem, we didn't know how to fix it right away. We said, this is an obvious problem that if we started working on this problem, we're going to figure out how to fix it. And, I don't know how Jeff Bezos started, initially what his intention was, but he just saw a problem and started fixing it and ultimately came to this independent peer review. Netflix realized, oh my God, independent peer review on movies and shows is going to just transform how we access that information. How many movies and shows are there in the world? We don't know. How do we rank and rate them? Independent peer review.
Exactly.
How many books are there in the world? And which is the best book? We don't know. How do we rank and rate them? Independent peer review. How many pages are in their tax code? How many strategies are there? How do we rip this thing apart? Independent peer review. But we didn't really come to that. We didn't even start building that. That was a function of us doing tax planning events and having these conversations in the hallways between attorneys and specialists and CPAs, and having so much thought leadership, leaders of family offices, leaders of the top CPA firms in various regions around the country, all at an event, the top law firms and lawyers and specialists in various tax planning strategies at one event in a hallway. Okay. Some like a 30-minute discussion between some of the smartest people in their specialties, just like that, can create incredible results. It could take a strategy, rip it apart, put it back together. The 3 or 4 top-notch CPAs, hey, what if we did this? What if we added this? What if we subtracted this? The lawyers are right there going, wait a minute, we could do that. Maybe we don't do that. Maybe this is impossible. All of a sudden now we take a strategy and we push it, we put some pressure on it, and we can make it significantly stronger, less risky, more benefit, tighter. And that, unless that hallway meeting happens, you're not going to get that. So a lot of our structures are proprietary. in that they've been modified and readjusted based on conversations and feedback from really top-notch CPAs, leaders of family offices, working with the specialists, working with the attorneys who are the thought leaders in those strategies themselves. Yeah. So seeing that and actually organizing the events where that would occur was like, oh my God, what are we really even doing here? Yeah. So from that, we've really reshaped our model, and we've really identified the essence of what we do is we facilitate this due diligence process for every CPA that needs to climb up this mountain. Yeah. And if they go halfway, or if they go 3/4 way, if they go 7/8, if you climb 7/8 up the mountain, you have not completed it. You have to go all the way to the top of the mountain, check off all the boxes, go, I understand the strategy. I understand the weak part of the strategy. I understand where the IRS could attack that weak point. And I know how we can defend it, not just defend it, but win and dominate any audit. In fact, there is no way to attack the strategy unless there's fraud committed. This is where we get to with the CPAs when they complete their due diligence process. And this is exactly why most CPA firms don't complete their due diligence, because it's hard. They run out of oxygen. They don't bring enough supplies. They don't have the right Sherpa to take them up to the top of the Himalayas. So they either don't even try or go halfway up, go quarter way up and say, I've run out of oxygen. I've run out of resources. I've run out of Twinkies. I'm going to go back down the hill, get me some more Twinkies. Yeah. That's okay. It's okay. You don't have to climb all the way up the mountain with us, but all the benefits, all the gold, all the winning is at the peak. And so you better complete your due diligence and climb that mountain, because this is where this is where the business owners need you to go. Yeah. And they don't care about excuses. Okay. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, people like that don't care about being a CPA is hard. Tax season is hard. I care. Sure. I care. I know it's hard. But business owners don't care that it's hard. They just want results. And our community now is positioned to win and deliver results and get wows from billionaires and get, oh my God, you guys are geniuses. I'm going to introduce you to all my other friends who are also billionaires. Tell me a CPA firm where you have centimillionaires and millionaires and billionaires going, you guys are geniuses, and I'm going to introduce you to everyone I know who's also in my net worth or bigger. Is that happening at Deloitte, KPMG, PwC? I'd like to see those stories, because that's happening with the members of the due diligence project. Yeah. And I love it, because this is what we've been working for. And there's a lot that goes into what we do to create those kinds of results.
Let me ask this. I mean, because this is not hyperbole. This is happening. And what I want to say is that, I mean, from my understanding, just in this past year, you and your CPAs have at least 2 new billionaire clients. I mean, so everything you just described. I mean, I love your passion, and I love the problem in the marketplace you're solving, and this is legitimately happening, which is just amazing. Can you tell us anything about just, I think you may have already said it, but just these billionaires that are coming in. I mean, that's
all I can relate this to is athletes who win a championship. And if you look at them, they're just working every day. They're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about the result. They're just going to work every day, having fun. We have a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun for me. The work we do is really fun for our CPAs. This is not traditional CPA compliance work. That is not fun for most CPAs who do it, who just they grind, they go to work, they send their kids to college and all that stuff, but they don't necessarily consider that fun. This is really, really fun. Because there's competition. The competition thinks they're really, really good at this, but they're really not good at this. And the results show they're not good at this. And we're taking CPAs, one man, one woman CPA firms or larger firms. Some of them are former Big Four. Some of them are former regional, tax partners. And we're taking them and putting them up and making them the leading CPA firms or family offices in their communities. And they're recognized as the leading family officer CPA firms in their communities. And the reason is because they're amazingly quality people. Number one, it gives them this huge advantage of being able to complete the due diligence where their competition is just not doing it. And we can see they're not doing it because they come in our Zoom rooms and we ask them questions and they just don't know. They just don't know. And it's embarrassing. And so we are not here to embarrass CPAs or attorneys or professionals at all. We're here to say, look, here is a great facility for you to come to and contribute to the due diligence project. You are going to independently review all these things yourself. And here are the notes to reduce the time and energy that it's going to take you to complete. Look, we know it's hard to climb to the top of the Himalayas. It's hard. Okay, that's why we have the best Sherpas. That's why we can actually fly you in a helicopter, get you, to, 3/4 up the way, and then let you just complete the last quarter by yourself and go, look, I'm at the top of the Himalayas. Doesn't matter how you get there. You got to get there. Okay, you want to walk up by yourself, or you want to fly, 7/8 up and walk the last eighth by yourself. Be like, I'm at the top of the mountain. I could see everything now. Until you can see everything, it's hard to recommend to your client, this is the best. When you don't know how many pages are in the tax code. How is that the best? But the thing is, our community is humble. We know we don't know. That's the first place we start. So you ask me, hey, you're not a CPA. How do you do this? It's easier for me because I'm not a CPA. I don't know. So I started with, I have no idea what I'm doing. That's a very humble place to start. And at the end of the day, all our CPAs, even the best CPAs that we think, hey, these are the best CPAs in the world. They're the most humble. Because they're like, we have no idea. We have no idea. We need this, Alex. We don't know where to go. The worst CPAs are the ones who go, no, we already know everything. We don't need anybody. I'm like going, wow, your clients, they need to run away from you as fast as they can. Because all they have to do is ask you, do you know the tax law? No. Do you know how many pages are in the tax code? No. How can you give me a tax plan if you don't know how many pages are in the tax code?
Tell me what the difference. So session 1 at the summit was all about due diligence. Session 2 was about virtual family office best practices.
Sure.
What are the differences there that we haven't talked about before?
Great question. We started as the virtual family office hub. The idea was to, instead of having a stockbroker lead a Wall Street firm, and build infrastructure underneath a stockbroker, we decided that model doesn't really work for the high net worth individual. The high net worth individual already knows how to make money. They need a family office that is led by a tax genius. And that family office should not be local advisors and attorneys and just whoever we can get locally to work at a family office and be W-2 for this family office. That's what's going on out there. Is that the best? No, it's not the best. The best is having an elite CPA who has access to best-in-class, the best attorneys, the best resources, the best specialists in every single category, and it's a virtual family office. That's the model, right? So this is where we started building. And the work that we do inside the virtual family office hub, the vetting, looking at the resources, identifying what's good, what's better. That is the due diligence project. So the difference is the due diligence project is what we do inside the hub of the virtual family office hub to vet out the resources and the strategies that our virtual family offices, these elite CPA firms that are delivering project-based planning or year-long flat fee. You get this many hours with me, 6 meetings, 10 meetings, 12 meetings a year, so we can wrap our head around everything that you're doing, the assets you're buying, the assets you're selling, to build you the estate plan, the asset protection plan, the income tax plan, all of that coordinated. The tax specialist should be at the top coordinating everything, and the resources, the money managers, the asset managers are just part of that team. So that's the virtual family office best practices. The due diligence project is what we do inside that hub.
Okay, so just in my own words, the virtual family office is more the structure that's client facing. The due diligence project is more the facilitation for the CPAs and VFOs that are expert to get the resources that they need. Would that
exactly? Where the business owner, instead of making 7 phone calls to his advisor, his attorney, his other resources and specialists, we're meaning that the business owner themselves, the one who's making and selling trinkets,
Mhm.
is now running his own family office,
Mhm.
but maybe they've not been trained in any of the skills that it takes to run a family office,
Yeah.
specifically tax, all these other, they're not a CFO,
Mhm.
they don't have an MBA, they don't have all these different things that they would need. It's much easier to have an elite CPA who's a virtual family office now take one phone call from the patriarch and
Yeah.
matriarch in that family and get everything taken care of, as opposed to trying to do it themselves and making 7 phone calls or 17 phone calls.
Definitely. You started the VFO, the Virtual Family Office Hub, a number of years ago. I forget the exact year, but it's been a number of years since you started that. And you started it on this virtual model as opposed to like the traditional family office that's more local in nature. We've just spent the past year, in this pandemic, and the whole world has gone virtual. Now that we're on the tail end of the pandemic and we're kind of moving forward, what do you see the opportunities for the future? I mean, is the virtual model accelerating? Are people trying to catch up? Are we going to go? Are people going to go back to where they were? I mean, I would imagine that you are very well positioned to continue to lead the pack in terms of the virtual family office idea, if you will.
One of the things I learned was an options trader in Chicago, 20 years ago, and you learn this the hard way and you learn this the easy way, depending on how you trade, is that the trend is your friend. Okay? You don't want to fight the trend. The trend is your friend, and we've seen the trend towards going virtual start way before COVID hit, right? And so I've been doing virtual stuff for years, and once I started doing it, and you were showing me how to do some virtual stuff, Paul. So I credit you with really being able to help us grow this community and take the message and share it in a dynamic way. And you did a great job with your section in the EDP Summit of helping our CPAs share their messaging. But as we started using technology and using Zoom and using these virtual rooms to do work, we realized this is super efficient. And time is such an incredible commodity. Business owners' time is so valuable. Time with family, time in business, time, so just the travel time alone, just to eliminate travel time, to go back to saying, I really want to travel again and commute and do all these things. And I can't imagine business owners saying, that's going to be better for me. Now, I get it. Some people do their business one-on-one, their relationship building. They want to break bread. They're going to be flying around the country. I totally get that. But I think at best, we're going to have a hybrid system where a lot of the stuff that people already converted to, they're not going back. I mean, why does someone need to get in and go to, your family office or your CPA firm in an in-person meeting when they could do this right here, roll out of bed, go into their library and just have a 30-minute meeting and boom, go right back to what they're doing? Makes no sense.
Exactly. No,
makes no sense. So we're positioned, our members are positioned, and certainly the world is going to change. Virtual is going to be a part of that. And I think hybrid is going to be a part of that. And it's fascinating to see how everything's moving so quickly.
Yeah, the final part of the summit was the roundtable discussion. Yes. What was the roundtable discussion? What were some of the highlights? What were you trying to accomplish there?
Yeah, so the roundtable discussion was really tricky. Like, who do we pick? We have so many resources. We have so many strategies. So we just wanted to touch on some of the ones that are working well right now. We're still in the middle of a COVID. We have the 2020-2021 CARES Act that's supposedly going away at the end of this year. Who knows what that's going to look like in 2022? So there's a couple things that in the CARES Act that have been given to us that are going to expire at the end of this year. So we wanted to use some timely ideas. Obviously, the other piece of the puzzle is we're having a historic tax increase. It looks like it's going to be retroactive to January 1st. My goodness, we've been waiting for direction, and the more direction we get, we're seeing very high tax increases, and now it looks like retroactive tax increases. So people are super tax conscious. So we wanted to talk about a number of tax reduction strategies. We touched on some charitable concepts that we really like, that our community is really gravitating to. Some of these concepts we took through some due diligence. We took the CPAs through some due diligence. Now they're connecting with us to see the rest of the puzzle. Hey, take us through the real detail that you didn't share at the summit. No problem. We do that with you one-on-one.
That was more the teaser.
Absolutely. Then we went into, let's talk about conservation easements. Let's talk about the 10 lawsuits that the IRS has won in conservation easements. And let's talk about the one they just lost. And then let's talk about the resources in that space that are not at risk to any of the lawsuits or any of the issues that conservation easements companies are dealing with. And are there any companies like that? Well, apparently there are. We touched on there's some conservation easements companies that are doing things at such a high level, they're not at risk of anything happening at the IRS level, except for the fact the IRS doesn't like conservation easements. Well, that doesn't make them illegal. It doesn't make them, even risky.
Yeah.
What makes them risky? We touched on that at the DEP Summit. We talked about tax credits. We talked about utilizing, basically investing in a solar structure that can be used to depreciate, to expense, or could create a revenue stream for the client and also for the CPA firm. My goodness. So some clients can be able to use this to create additional tax problems from revenues, and some clients are going to use this as a tax structure. Two other strategies we talked about was partnering with an insurance company as opposed to being a customer of an insurance company. This doesn't mean setting up your own captive and exposing the business owner to captive risk. No, you can actually partner with an insurance company, workers' comp or health insurance, send them premiums. And if we don't have claims against those premiums are going to be returned to the client.
Yeah.
That's a taxable event, but they can use that money for next year's premium. It's a massive cost reduction event. Does it raise taxes? Yes. But then, of course, we have other strategies to mitigate those taxes. But this is all about putting more cash in the client's pocket. Most of our community weren't aware that this is even possible. Now, who are the resources that we're bringing to the table? The lawyer, the lawyer that we had in the summit, he's working with our billionaire clients. So we've got lawyers who are handling billionaire clients. Our resource who is doing the health insurance and workers' comp for our community. Who are some of his clients? Well, Jeff Bezos is one. They're actually building a captive for Amazon. They're finalizing that. So now we've identified this resource maybe 10 years before Jeff Bezos. But Jeff Bezos has just confirmed that, who are we going to choose to build our own health insurance and workers' comp captive? We're going to use the same resource that Alex Sonkin is using, the due diligence project. So when we see things like that, when we see Zuckerberg and Bezos and other billionaires using the same resources or same strategies that we're using in our community, we feel really good about our choices. Yeah. So this is the roundtable. We could have had a much larger roundtable. We could have been there for days. We made it efficient partly because I'm a little ADD and I don't think I could sit through a longer conference than the 5-hour one that we put on. And so I just wanted it to be interesting for me. And you could see me sometimes if the slides take too long, I'm like, let's go.
Well, yeah, no, but I commend you because even though they're, technically the specialists, you have such a grasp of everything that you are able to lead the conversation in a productive way. So you're an excellent facilitator, which I do.
Well, it's interesting. One of our billionaire clients told me this, Alex, I said, anyone can learn anything, right? You don't have to be an expert in a field to learn it. If you take a day, if you just take a day and say, I'm just going to go and study, but you have to find the right information. If someone says, look, study this book, watch these videos, you could take a day and read enough books and watch enough videos and rip apart enough information where you can use, keen insight and be like, okay, I'm just going to rip this apart and learn this information, just like the CPAs do. Yeah. That's what they're doing. So the same thing that they're doing, any person can do it if they wanted to dedicate enough time to it. And they're really, they bring energy to the table. The reality is most people don't want to do that. Most people don't want to take a day to learn something new. Just like if you watch kids learning algebra for the first time, they don't want to learn algebra. It forces their brain. So Why did I learn all this stuff? Because I saw an opportunity and I saw a huge problem. And I said, wow, if I can fix this problem, we're going to have a lot of winning and a lot of fun. So I didn't want to climb up this mountain. I don't want to learn these technicalities, but I did it anyway. My CPAs dragged me up the hill because they're like, hey, Alex, what about this? What about this? What about this? And I'm going, I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to go find out. And as I went and found out, I had to make a bunch of phone calls and I was learning. And then I would sit there on phone calls between the specialists and the CPAs listening to them talk. And like 10 years ago, I had no idea what they were talking about.
Right.
But I was like picking up one thing here, one thing there.
Sure.
And along the way, you learn.
Sure.
You just learn it. Just like a little kid, who's now a professor at MIT is, teaching math, whatever, 1801, when he first started, he didn't know algebra either. So we're all capable of this. It's just how much motivation is there.
Sure. No, definitely. And moving forward, there's two people that are watching this. One is the CPA that is not currently part of the due diligence project. The other is the ultra high net worth individual that is thinking, why is my CPA part of this, and if not, why not? Can you address both of those people in terms of what would potentially be the next steps for them to find out more, to take the next step with the due diligence project or the virtual family office hub?
No, we're here to support the CPA. We're here to support the CPA who's there to support his clients. And that's what we're all about. And if you're a business owner watching this, I highly encourage you to gently, just share the due diligence project information with your CPA. Have them look at this, have them reach out to us. They know that they don't know how many pages there are in the tax code. They know that the tax code is constantly changing, but they need a resource. They need a facility that's better than what they currently have, which is just access to other CPAs who have access to the same information, or local resources. We're all just blinded by the same boxes. And so we really need this independent peer review community to make this work. And they could set up their own. They could build their own. They don't have to join the due diligence project. They may not qualify to be members of our community. We have some serious qualifications, but we're here to serve the CPAs who are there to serve business owners, because we have a special place in our heart for the business owners. We know how hard it is to make our communities better places, to do great things, to create great products and services, and we want them to be efficient and on a multi-generational level. And so the best way for us to help the business owners to help their CPA. And so that's it. We're just here to support the CPAs, and we love CPAs. There's not enough money in the world to pay me to be a CPA. There's no way that just is never going to happen. But that also endears me to them. The fact that they're willing to do all that work for business owners is amazing. And so anything we can do to make their job better, easier, and facilitate ultimately the work that these business owners are doing, creating jobs, making a difference in our communities, that's what, to me, is what it's all about. And what I'm trying to do is get the business owner to call their CPA and go, man, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And we know that the CPAs, that's why they do it. And this is why we do it. At the end of the day, we call this winning. And that's how we keep score.
I know that you're a coach. You manage several, I think, youth sports teams. So you mentioned winning. Why is winning important to you? And just kind of taking it back to a personal level, what are some updates in terms of what you're doing as a coach?
So,
aside from the CPA,
I appreciate you asking that question, because that's one of my passions. Is I coach right now. I'm coaching one flag football team. I had a chance to coach my older son, who's a freshman in high school now, and kids who are now sophomores, and then now I'm coaching my fourth graders about to go to fifth grade. So we've had a lot of fun. It's very competitive out here. I've had a chance to really connect with some elite athletes here in San Diego County over the years, and these are amazing relationships. Being part of a team that's just all going in the same direction, and watching those relationships form and watching these teams grow is incredible. Trying to win puts pressure on these relationships and puts us in very uncomfortable situations that changes people, that makes people stronger. These boys that after they played a couple seasons together, man, they are tough. And to watch them up to become grown men, especially the ones who are now in high school that I still have relationships with, is incredible. Mm-hmm. And, look, if there's no winning, if you're not trying to win, then there's really no pressure. The pressure, the idea that we could lose creates this incredible pressure. And from that pressure, we build these young men. Yeah. And so I've been addicted to competition my whole life. I have no idea why. I kind of suppressed it after I got out of sports and went into the business world. Sure. And when my kids were born, I got 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. And when got me into coaching, when I realized how much competition there was and how much fun it was and how much it sucks to lose, I was like, this is it for me. Just the pain of losing is so bad that I'm like, I have to be a part of this. I have to be a part of this because you know what? Number one, it gives me a great opportunity to spend time with my boys. Yeah. They see me as this crazy coach dad. But we've had such a great run here in California. This is going to be, this is our 4th or 5th team that's been invited to the state championship tournament. Only the top teams get invited. I remember when I first heard about this tournament, I'm like, we have to get invited. What do we have to do to get invited? So this is a really very competitive sport. I love it. I could talk about it all day. And we have a big playoff game tonight. So okay. We're playing in Carlsbad tonight at 4:20. Okay. I'll give you the information after we're done.
Very cool. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Final question: Is there anything that I haven't asked you, or any final thoughts before we close up this podcast today?
No. Obviously, I'm very energized from the event. It's taken me a while just to kind of just take all my thoughts, and there's so much going on. The community is growing. We are building these incredible relationships with these CPAs. We're building some relationships with their clients. It's just fun to be a part of this. To me, being a part of a flag football team that's winning at a very high level and being part of the due diligence project, it's almost the same feelings. Very competitive environment. The feelings are incredible. I mean, the parents of the kids who are winning, going undefeated, and just their pride of their son, in the community, and it's incredible. And obviously, when you have a CPA who's able to impress their biggest client, and have the client go, "Thank you so much. That was amazing." And some of these clients are not clients who throw those kinds of words around.
Sure.
Are very tough to impress type of business owners. Yeah. And to get those types of responses, I know what it means to the CPA, okay? Because I can feel it. And so
if I can just jump in for a second, I mean, I totally agree that, getting those kinds of compliments, but I mean, I heard you say earlier that, you have a new client who happens to be a billionaire who already is, wanting to bring over all of his friends. I mean, so the work that the CPA does with you guys is
it's critical.
It's critical.
The CPA ultimately, our job is to make the CPA look amazing because the CPA is the one doing the work. We're there to facilitate the CPA's work. If the CPA doesn't do the work, nothing happens. So the hero in this is the CPA, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who completed the due diligence. They're the ones who climbed the mountain. I can't do this. The client is not capable of doing this without their tax advisor's help. Yeah. I can't do this I can't explain this to the business owner in a way that's going to satisfy them, because they just don't have a foundation to understand risk reward of sophisticated tax planning. It's never going to happen for them, because unless they are a specialist or a leader in the tax planning community, and they're themselves a sophisticated tax planning master. So unless their CPA does this work, they're not going to get the results. And that's who really is the hero in this whole story. So we're here to support the heroes out there, whether they're acknowledged or not. We're here to acknowledge them, and we're here to make sure that, the ones who are doing the work get the proper acknowledgement, but their clients already know that. And that's really what they're there for. And they don't need me, and they don't need, CPAs aren't doing this to be social media superstars and rock stars. They're doing this for the thank yous, I believe.
Yeah.
The right ones are.
Yeah.
And those are the ones who we champion, and those are the ones we're here to support. So
congratulations again on another successful due diligence project summit. I guess I do have a final question, which is, when is the next one scheduled to happen?
So our next one's going to be in November. We're finalizing a date right now. So we usually do one end of May and early November.
Very cool.
This kind of, unless they start changing tax deadlines again and making this a moving target.
Hopefully that's past us.
But we've established ourselves that we didn't change our date when the Irish changed the deadline, and the CPA still showed up. So that's a testament to you, Paul, to help us share the message. It's also a testament to these amazing CPAs who 2 days after their deadline date jumped on and participated in the summit, which means what? They really care, and they have a big heart for their clients, because they didn't have to do that. They could have already been on vacation, sitting at the pool. So.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Alex. I really appreciate it. And good luck. I don't know that you need luck, but good luck on your competition this evening.
Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
That's all for this episode of the Due Diligence Project podcast. Be sure to visit duediligenceproject.com to access the resources we have available for qualified CPAs and family office leaders. Our mission at the Due Diligence Project is to help you deliver more significance and value to your very best clients while shifting your traditional practice into the firm of the future.